Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We love to dig into these company earnings calls.
Yeah, absolutely. Some real gems in there.
That's right. We're looking at Yatsun today.
Yatsun, yep. The Chinese beauty giant.
Yeah, they're behind some brands you might have even heard of.
Definitely Perfect Diary for sure.
Yep, Perfect Diary.
And then the skincare brand Galenic.
Right, Galenic.
Big players in China.
So why are we diving into this particular transcript? Well, the Chinese beauty market, it's been having a bit of a rough time lately.
It has. It's a challenging landscape for sure.
But Yatsun, they've been kind of bucking the trend a little bit.
They have. They actually managed to meet their financial goals for the quarter.
And even some growth in certain areas.
Exactly.
So we're going to try to unpack all of that and see if we can glean any insights into their strategy, what's working for them, what might be coming down the pipeline.
Sounds good. Let's dig in.
All right. So first things first, let's paint a picture of what's going on in the Chinese beauty market.
Yeah, got to set the stage.
Right. Because it's not exactly a pretty picture.
No, it's not.
It's tough out there.
Yatsun CEO Jinfeng Huang, he actually called out some pretty stark numbers in the call.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so overall retail sales in China, across all categories for Q3, they were up.
Okay, so people are still shopping.
Yeah, 2.7%. It's not bad. But then he goes on to say that beauty retail sales during the same period actually shrunk.
Oh, wow.
By 5.5%.
So that's a big difference.
Huge difference. And even more telling, September was the fourth consecutive month of decline for beauty sales.
So it's not just a blip, it's a trend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it really begs the question, if people are still spending money overall, what is it about beauty products that's making them hesitate?
Right. Where are they putting their yuan?
Yeah. Is it, are there some underlying economic factors at play? Or are we seeing some kind of shift in consumer preferences, maybe new trends emerging?
Lots to consider there.
For sure. But here's another layer to all of this. Even online sales, which have traditionally been a strong point for beauty brands, they weren't immune to this downturn either.
Oh, yeah, Tmall, which is like the Amazon of China, the biggest e-commerce platform there.
Right.
They saw a dip in sales for both color cosmetics and skincare. And even Douyin, the social media platform where a lot of shopping happens now, they only experienced modest double-digit growth, which for Douyin is actually kind of slow.
Yeah, their growth has been explosive in recent years.
Exactly. So the takeaway here is that the Chinese beauty market, it's in a state of flux. It's really anybody's game right now.
And it takes a nimble and adaptive company to navigate that successfully.
And that brings us to Yatsun.
Yeah, how did they manage to pull off a decent quarter amidst all of this chaos?
Right, because with all these challenges, they still managed to hit their guidance, their financial targets for Q3.
That is impressive, given the circumstances.
It really is. And to me, it signals that they're doing something right strategically, that they're making smart decisions that are allowing them to stay afloat, even when the tide is turning against them.
Makes sense. So let's dig into their actual performance. How did the numbers break down?
Okay, so overall revenue did decline by 5.7%.
Okay, so not immune.
Not immune. Not a huge surprise given what we just talked about with the market overall. But here's the interesting part. Their skincare brands actually saw an increase.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, 3.6% growth.
That's going against the grain for sure.
It is. And that growth was driven mostly by their clinical and premium skincare lines. So brands like Galenic, DRW, Eve Lom.
So they're finding success at the higher end of the market.
Exactly. It's like they're zeroing in on that segment of consumers who are willing to pay a premium for quality skincare.
And that makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Even in a down market, people still prioritize their health and well-being.
Right. And skincare, especially premium skincare, is often seen as an investment in yourself.
It's a form of self-care.
Exactly.
So they're capitalizing on that trend.
They are. But of course, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, color cosmetics.
Right. Because Perfect Diary is kind of their bread and butter.
It is. And their revenue in that category did drop by 10%.
Oh.
Yeah. And the transcript actually attributes this to Perfect Diary's ongoing transformation.
Oh, they're shaking things up.
They are. They're revamping their product line. They're experimenting with new marketing strategies. So it's kind of a wait-and-see situation with Perfect Diary.
It'll be interesting to track their progress there.
It will. But here's the thing. Even with that dip in color cosmetics, Yatsun's overall profitability actually improved.
Now, that's interesting.
Yeah, their gross margin, which is the profit they make on each product after manufacturing costs, jumped up to 75.9%.
Wow. That's a healthy margin.
It is, up from 71.4% last year.
So they're making more money on each product they sell.
Exactly. And it really speaks to their focus on those higher margin products that we were just talking about.
Smart move.
It is. And they've also been very actively managing their expenses.
So tightening the belt a bit.
Exactly. And as a result, they've actually managed to reduce their net loss margin, which is the percentage of revenue lost to expenses, by 9.7 percentage points.
That's significant.
It is. And it really shows that they're being very strategic, not just about what they're selling, but also about how they're spending money.
So it's a two-pronged approach.
It is. They're making each sale more profitable, and they're getting smarter about their spending.
Sounds like a recipe for success.
Especially in a market as unpredictable as this one.
Absolutely. So they're adapting, but what's the master plan here? What's the overarching strategy that's guiding these changes?
Well, the transcript reveals that Yatsun is in the midst of a major transformation aimed at creating sustainable growth.
Okay, so they're not just reacting to the market, they're proactively changing their approach.
Exactly. They're playing the long game here.
Smart. And what are the key pillars of this transformation?
Well, they're focusing on two main things: optimizing their revenue mix and refining their cost structure.
So in simpler terms, they're focusing on selling more profitable products and streamlining their operations.
That's it in a nutshell.
Makes sense. So we're starting to see the big picture here. They're not just weathering the storm, they're actually using this challenging time to reposition themselves for long-term success.
Exactly. It's like they're turning a threat into an opportunity.
Very strategic.
Mm-hmm.
But how are they actually pulling this off? How are they putting these ideas into action?
Well, let's take a closer look at those initiatives, starting with their revenue mix.
So when we talk about optimizing the revenue mix, it really comes down to this shift towards higher margin products.
Right, so focusing on those products that bring in more profit per sale.
Exactly. And this involves a couple of things. It's about expanding their skincare brands, which, as we know, generally tend to have higher margins than color cosmetics.
Makes sense. Skincare is often seen as more of a necessity than a luxury.
Right. And then on the color cosmetic side, it's about introducing new lines that command higher prices.
So kind of moving away from that super affordable, fast fashion makeup and going for something a bit more premium.
Exactly. It's about elevating the brand, offering products that are perceived as higher quality, more innovative.
Right. Because if people are willing to pay a premium for something, it better be worth it.
Absolutely. And that's where Yatsun's commitment to research and development comes in.
R&D, that's a big deal for them, right?
Huge. They invested a hefty RMB 25.3 million in R&D this quarter.
Wow.
Which represents 3.7% of their net revenue.
That's a significant chunk of change, especially for a company that's also trying to streamline costs.
It is, but it shows just how seriously they take innovation. They know that to stay ahead in this market, they need to constantly be developing new and exciting products.
Right. It's not enough to just follow trends. They need to be setting them.
Exactly. And we're seeing the fruits of that R&D investment in some of their recent product launches.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, Perfect Diary, for example, just launched their second-generation Biolip Essence lipstick.
Okay, I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, it's been getting a lot of buzz. They've incorporated some upgraded biotechnology into this new formula.
Fancy.
It is. And it's already become a top seller on Douyin.
So it's a hit with the social media crowd.
Big time. And it's a perfect example of how they're using technology to create products that consumers are excited about.
Smart move. Combining a great product with the power of social media marketing, that's a winning formula.
Absolutely. And it's not just Perfect Diary that's innovating Galenic. Their premium skincare brand also has some exciting new launches.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, they just unveiled this Couture Secret de Lens UV Multi-Protection. It's a sunscreen that features something called active anchor technology.
Okay, that sounds intriguing. What is that exactly?
Well, it's basically designed to help the sunscreen stay put even in humid conditions.
Oh, so no more runny sunscreen dripping into your eyes on a hot day.
Exactly. It's a problem a lot of people face, especially in a humid climate like China's.
Right. And they've come up with a solution.
They have. And it's this kind of attention to detail, this focus on solving real consumer problems that's really setting Galenic apart.
It's like they're not just creating products, they're creating solutions.
Exactly. And that's a powerful thing.
It is. So they're launching new products, but are they exploring any new ways to reach their customers?
Oh, absolutely. They're very much in tune with the evolving e-commerce landscape in China.
Which is constantly changing, by the way.
It is. It's fast-paced and dynamic. And one of the things they did was really interesting. They used the 11.11 shopping festival as kind of a real-world test of their strategies.
Ah, the 11.11 shopping festival.
Yeah.
That's like Black Friday and Cyber Monday all rolled into one.
It is. It's massive, and it's a great opportunity for brands to really push their products and try new things.
So what did Yatsun do? How did they approach this shopping extravaganza?
Well, for Perfect Diary, which remember is going through this transformation.
Right, trying to reestablish itself.
Exactly. They actually managed to re-enter the top 20 color cosmetic brands on both Tmall and Douyin combined.
Wow. That's a pretty big deal considering how competitive it gets during 11.11.
It is. It's a sign that their efforts to revitalize the brand are starting to pay off.
So a good comeback story for Perfect Diary.
It is. And then for Galenic, they continued their strong performance, clinching the top spot for premium whitening products in Austin Lee's live streaming room.
Austin Lee's, he's kind of a big deal, right?
Huge. He's like the king of live streaming in China, millions of followers.
So having his endorsement is a major coup.
Absolutely. And it speaks to the quality and popularity of Galenic's product.
All right. And Galenic also achieved the #3 ranking for imported anti-wrinkle serums on Tmall.
So they're holding their own against some stiff competition.
They are. And it really seems like this focus on higher margin products and innovation, it's paying off.
It is. But their success goes beyond just products and sales. They're also making strides in areas like international recognition and sustainability, which are increasingly important to consumers these days.
Yeah, those are definitely hot topics right now. So what's Yatsun doing in these areas?
Well, for starters, Galenic participated in a major European dermatology congress.
Ooh, fancy.
It is. And it really showcases their commitment to scientific research.
Right. It's like they're saying, we're not just about marketing hype, we're backing up our claims with real science.
Exactly. And that can be a major differentiator in the global skincare market.
For sure. So they're making a name for themselves on the international stage. What about Eve Lom?
Eve Lom hosted a global summit on emotional skincare.
Emotional skincare. That's an interesting concept.
It is. It's about recognizing the connection between our skin and our emotions, how our mental well-being can impact our skin health.
Right. It's not just about looking good. It's about feeling good, too.
Exactly. And this summit really highlighted Eve Lom's unique brand, positioning this focus on holistic well-being.
So they're tapping into a growing trend, this idea that beauty and wellness are interconnected.
They are. And it's a smart move.
Yeah.
Because consumers are increasingly looking for brands that align with their values.
Right. They want to buy from companies that are doing good in the world.
Exactly. And speaking of doing good, Yatsun also has a very strong ESG rating.
ESG, that stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance Rating.
It does. And they received an A rating from MSCI, which is a leading provider of ESG ratings.
So that's a pretty big deal.
It is. It shows that they're committed to sustainable and ethical business practices.
Which is more important than ever these days.
Absolutely. Consumers are holding companies accountable for their impact on the environment and society.
Right. And Yatsun is clearly taking this seriously.
They are. They've also published their third consecutive ESG report, which demonstrates their transparency and commitment to continuous improvement.
So they're walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. And that's what consumers want to see.
So we've got strong financial performance, innovative products, a commitment to sustainability, a growing international presence. It seems like Yatsun is firing on all cylinders here.
They are. It's a pretty impressive story of adaptation and innovation.
It makes you wonder what's next for them, where they go from here.
That's the million-dollar question. And while we don't have a crystal ball, we can certainly analyze their current trajectory and make some educated guesses. It feels like they're setting themselves up for something big.
Yeah, it's like they're building momentum.
They are. And one thing that really stands out to me is their impact on China's e-commerce landscape.
What do you mean?
Well, they were early adopters of this digital-first approach, really embracing platforms like Tmall and Douyin.
Right. They didn't shy away from online marketing even when some more traditional brands were hesitant.
Exactly. They saw the potential of these platforms before a lot of other companies did.
And it's paid off for them.
Big time. They've really been a blueprint for other brands, proving that you can build a thriving business primarily online.
So they were pioneers in a way.
They were, and they were also pioneers in using influencer marketing and live streaming, which are now just essential parts of e-commerce in China.
It's like they were shaping the landscape as they were navigating it.
Exactly. They weren't just riding the wave, they were helping create it.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So what do you think is their secret sauce? How did they master these new ways of reaching customers?
Well, I think a big part of it is their deep understanding of their target audience. They really get young consumers who are digital natives comfortable shopping online, influenced by social media.
Right. It's like they speak the language of that generation.
They do. And their influence goes beyond just marketing. They've actually changed the way people shop for beauty products online.
Who so?
Well, they've made the whole experience more interactive and engaging.
Right.
Think about those live streaming sessions with Austin Lai.
Right. It's like a whole production.
It is. It's entertainment. It's community.
Yeah.
It's about building excitement around a brand.
It's not just about buying a product. It's about being part of something.
Exactly. And that's really clever.
It is. But let's not forget about the less glamorous side of things.
Yeah.
We talked about their focus on refining their cost structure.
Right. Because that's just as important as all the flashy stuff.
Exactly. So while they're investing in all this innovation and growth, they're also getting really serious about streamlining their operations.
Making sure every yuan counts.
Exactly. How does that translate into real results, though?
Well, remember how we talked about them reducing their net loss margin by almost 10 percentage points?
Yeah, that was impressive.
It was. And that's a direct result of their cost management efforts. They're becoming more efficient, which frees up resources to invest in future growth.
So it's a balancing act.
It is. It's about being both ambitious and responsible.
Makes sense. So to wrap things up here, we've explored Yatsun's strategic transformation, their focus on higher margin products, their R&D, their global ambitions, their cost management.
It's a pretty compelling story.
It is a story of adaptation and innovation.
And I think the key takeaway here is that they're not just succeeding in a challenging market. They're actually shaping the future of the beauty industry in China and potentially beyond.
That's a powerful thought. So what would you say are the most important things for our listeners to remember from this deep dive?
Well, first and foremost, Yatsun is a company that understands the power of adaptation. They're not afraid to shake things up, try new things, adjust their strategy as needed.
Right, they're constantly evolving.
Exactly. Second, they're masters of leveraging technology and digital platforms to reach and engage with their target audience.
They're digital natives in a digital world.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And finally, they're proving that you can be both ambitious and responsible. They're aiming for global success, but they're doing it in a way that prioritizes sustainability, innovation, financial prudence.
They're building a business with a conscience.
Well said. And for our listeners, if you're looking for a company that's worth watching, Yatsun is a day. They're a fascinating case study in how to navigate a complex market, embrace innovation, build a brand that truly resonates with today's consumers.
It's been a really insightful deep dive.
It has. And I always enjoy getting to analyze a company that's pushing the boundaries and changing the game.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this exploration of Yatsun. We hope you learned something new and maybe even got a little bit inspired. Until next time, stay curious.